So this is chapter 15 in the blue book, chapter 12 in the flamingo book. Okay, so we're going back to chapter 3. We're going back to that scatter plot, the least squares regression line, the correlation, r squared. What does r squared mean?
Correlation.
No.
R squared?
It's coefficient of determination.
Is R correlation?
Mm-hmm. You were close. It was the coefficient. What does it mean? What does r squared mean?
Average distance from the line.
Yeah. They usually use what word? There's a word that they always use.
Residual?
No, I'm stretching you guys right now, aren't I? You're like, oh my gosh, chapter 3. R squared is the fraction of variation. It is talking about the distance from the line, but when you see it, they'll say to you, what is the fraction of variation? What is the variation? And you have to know, like a lot of times when they ask you about r squared, they give you that definition instead of r squared or the coefficient of determination. Okay, so here are the assumptions that we need to make. So we're still in inference. So what we're going to do now is we're drawing that scatter plot and we're going to do inference. We still have a null hypothesis. We still have an alternative hypothesis. We're still going to have an alpha level. We're still going to have a p-value. This is just a little bit different, and I'm going to walk you through it, okay? Notice that the assumptions are a little bit different. I do have a hard copy of this, and so tonight I will post it. I'm going to try to do things before I go to work tonight. Okay, so assumptions for regression inference. The y response vary accordingly to a normal distribution. So they need to tell you that, okay? The y responses are independent of each other. Again, with the independence, right? Like, do you see that there's this theme? Like, one does not affect the other. The true relationship is linear. So you guys remember what we talked about correlation? Just because you have a high correlation, does that mean that your scatter plot is linear? No, it does not. Correlation doesn't give you a full picture. It helps you. And you know, if you look at a correlation, you should be able to say, yes, this is linear. But you always need to look at a picture, especially for a scatter plot. And then the standard deviation, sigma, is about the true regression line is constant. I just want to make sure. And then for some odd reason, where alpha is the true x-intercept and beta is the true slope. So now things are going to change a little bit. We're still going to use that StatCalc 8 like we did before. We're still going to have we're still going to have everything. Most of the time what they're going to give you though is, and then I'm going to show you I'll show you a couple things. But most of the time what they're going to give you is a chart, okay? And what I mean by that is they're going to give you something like this. This is what they're going to give you. Notice, so let's remember, because this is called computer output. A lot of times, you guys, they're going to give you computer output, and this is what they're going to ask you to discuss.